My name is John Halpern, and I used to believe that evil was a concept, an invention of frightened people who didn't understand chaos. That belief ended the night I found the altar buried beneath the city. It started 3 months ago, when I moved to Eldridge, a city that seemed ordinary enough. Steel towers, flickering street lamps, the constant hum of electricity, but underneath something about it felt wrong. I'd taken a job as an architectural restorer, contracted by the city to survey the old metro tunnels, shut down since the 1950s. The mayor wanted to convert them into an underground art district, and I was there to make sure nothing would collapse once artists moved in. My office was in an abandoned substation near the center of town. Each morning, I'd descend the rusted service ladder into a world of dripping pipes and stale air. Every sound echoed twice, the real one and then the deeper one that came half a second later, as though the tunnels themselves were answering. At first it was just work, measurements, blueprints, humidity checks. But after a week I began noticing symbols carved into the concrete walls, circles intersected by jagged lines, runes that looked older than the city itself. Some were fresh, etched just days ago, as if someone was still coming down here. The project manager, a woman named Clara, brushed it off. "Old graffiti," she said. Probably from the cult stories they used to tell about this place. Cult stories. Every city had them, but here they were unusually consistent. People whispered that Eldridge was built over a pagan site, that its founders had struck a bargain with something beneath the earth. The kind of stories tourists love and locals ignore. Still, the idea lingered. One night I stayed late, mapping the central tunnel. Around midnight the lights flickered and went out. I was left with nothing but the narrow beam of my headlamp, and in that cone of light I saw footprints in the dust. Bare human, leading away from me. I followed them. They led to a sealed service door, marked M12. The city's map said it hadn't been opened since 1963, but when I touched the handle, it turned easily. Behind it was a spiral staircase, descending far deeper than the metro system should have gone. The air grew colder with every step, heavy with a smell I couldn't place, sweet and rotten, like flowers left too long in the dark. At the bottom was a chamber. Stone, not concrete, ancient. The walls were covered in the same symbols I'd seen earlier, but now they glowed faintly, as if reacting to my presence. In the center stood an altar. It wasn't ornate, just a slab of black stone, smooth as glass. But what made my stomach turn were the stains, dark, dried, layered over years. And lying beside it was a mask, made of wood and iron, shaped like a screaming face. I should have turned back. I should have sealed the door and reported it to the city. But curiosity has teeth, and mine were sunk deep. I reached out and touched the mask. A flash, images, sounds, faces chanting in a language that clawed at my brain. The air seemed to ripple, and I heard whispering behind me. I spun around. No one. Only the faint hiss of air through the cracks in the wall. That was the first night the voices began. At first they came as dreams. I'd wake up hearing soft murmurs like distant conversations through walls. Then the words became clearer. He returns. The city remembers. The gate must open. I started losing time. Whole hours gone. My notebook would be filled with sketches I didn't remember drawing. Diagrams of the altar, circles of runes. When I told Clara, she looked concerned, then scared. She said the last surveyor who worked those tunnels, 2 years ago, had vanished. They found his helmet, but not his body. She told me to stay away from the lower levels. I agreed. Then I lied. I went back the next night. The staircase was gone. Where the M12 door had been, there was only solid concrete. I hammered at it until my hands bled. Finally, I pressed my ear against the wall and heard chanting on the other side, Something was still down there. Over the next week, the city began to change. Pigeons gathered in flocks, circling the same intersection for hours. Water from the taps turned murky, smelling faintly of iron. People complained of nightmares, the same dream. They said, a black altar under the city, and a man in a mask whispering their names. I kept hearing my name, too. Everywhere. Then came the night of the blackout. The entire downtown went dark at 2:16 a.m. I was in my apartment, staring at the blueprints of the metro system, when the power cut. In the sudden silence, I heard footsteps in the hall outside my door. 3 knocks. Then a voice, "John, we need you below." I froze. It was Clara's voice. I opened the door and saw her standing there, soaked in rain, eyes wide and unblinking. But her lips weren't moving. The voice came from somewhere behind her, whispering through her throat. She turned and started walking down the stairwell. I followed like I was pulled by strings. Outside, the city was eerily quiet. Not even the hum of power lines. She led me to a manhole in the middle of the street, pried it open with bare hands, and descended. I followed her down into the dark. The tunnels were alive. The walls pulsed like veins, wet and warm to the touch. The symbols glowed brighter now, throbbing in rhythm with my heartbeat. We reached the altar chamber again, but it was larger now, impossibly large, stretching beyond sight. Hundreds of people stood in circles around it, all wearing masks. Some I recognized, people from my building, the grocery clerk, even the mayor. They began to chant. Clara stepped forward, turned to me, and placed the mask in my hands. "It's yours," she said. "You opened the door. You called him." I tried to speak, to ask who him was, but my mouth wouldn't move. My body wasn't mine anymore. I placed the mask on my face, and everything went silent. Then I saw it, the thing rising from the altar. Not a creature, not quite. More like a shadow wearing the idea of a man, vast and ancient. Its voice wasn't sound, it was pressure, pushing inside my skull. "You built your city over my grave," it said. "And you feed me still." The crowd fell to their knees. My hands lifted against my will, palms bleeding. I felt my veins burning, black lines spreading under my skin. The shadow stepped closer, merging with me. And then nothing. When I woke up, it was morning. The blackout was over. The city was normal again. Clara was gone. No one remembered her. No one remembered anything. The tunnels? Sealed, according to the city office. No record of an M12 sector, they told me. But I know what I saw. And sometimes, when the lights flicker, I hear chanting beneath the hum of the streets. Last night, I dreamed I was back at the altar. Only this time I was standing on it. The crowd was chanting my name. When I woke up, my hands were covered in dust and something black was under my fingernails. On my desk lay the wooden mask. It shouldn't exist. I left it underground. I tried to burn it, but it wouldn't catch fire. I threw it in the river. It floated back to shore. And now wherever I go, people watch me too long. Their eyes are hollow, like they're waiting for me to say a word they already know. I think the city is waking up again. I hear the trains beneath the streets, trains that haven't run in 70 years. At night, the floorboards vibrate, like something massive is moving just below. Sometimes I catch my reflection in the window, and for a split second, the mask is on my face again. And sometimes, I hear Clara's voice whispering from the dark corners of my apartment. "John, the altar's waiting." "It's hungry. I don't sleep anymore." The city hums. And I hum with it. If you're hearing this, if my voice reaches you, don't go underground. Don't follow the chanting, because once you've heard it, it never stops. It just waits below the city for you to answer.